What's going on, everybody? It's EricRayweather back here, and in today's video I'm going to be going over the latest title update for Madden 19. Yes, we have a brand new title update to the game, some gameplay fixes and more. We did think that the last title update that came out a few weeks back, maybe about a month back, would be the last one for the year, because typically this is around the time where they would put out the last update for the year. But Madden 19, it is quite buggy this year. It does have quite a bit of issues this year. I don't know if this was always planned to have another title update, but I think with so many things being wrong in the game, that they definitely felt that they couldn't leave the game as is, which I definitely am happy about that. So I don't know any of the fixes yet. I've seen a couple people tweet about certain things, so I have somewhat of an idea, but I don't know all of them yet. So I'm going to find out for the first time with you as I read through this title update, hoping for some great fixes. And I definitely would expect this one to be the last one of the year, because they didn't update the game past February last year, but who knows, because this is a whole different year with a lot of different issues. So let's get right into it. The Madden NFL February title update now. It says this update is heavily influenced by your community feedback. Make sure to give us more feedback on the official forums. So let's get into it. Now right here it says general stability improvements. It says additional logging to track online desyncs. As you know, desyncs have been a huge problem this year. Games desyncing and just not counting, especially in competitive play. It says there's a dev note here. It says while our internal tracking shows that online desyncs are occurring at a very low rate, definitely seems like it's not a low rate, but anyway, when looking across all online play, we realize that any desyncs impacting higher level online competitions have been a big impact on play experience. We're continuing to work to drive down that rate, especially focusing on competitive formats, and tracking will help us identify the causes. So I guess they added some additional tracking in the game to try to figure out exactly why the game is desyncing so much, because just because the game desyncs don't mean they can just press a button and fix that. They have to understand exactly why it's desyncing, and if you can't replicate it, you can't fix it. So they have, I guess, put some things in the game to try to better track what is actually causing some of these desyncs, so that if they can figure out what that is, then they can remove it. They say it's at a low rate. I personally don't really desync very often, but when I'm watching streams, it seems like I see it happen multiple times a day to people, so it doesn't seem like it's at a low rate. But anyway, they're at least, you know, they're still trying to figure something out with it. Gameplay updates. Tuning. Fumble risk added to ball carriers when using the spin move when hit in the back with a successful hit stick tackle. This was something that was adjusted a few months back in a previous update, but it didn't seem to really do much. So I guess they have maybe tuned it to up the fumble risk. But the problem with this is, for me, is that yes, it sounds good and all, but it's extremely hard to hit stick someone in the back when they're spinning because of how effective the spin move is. Now, yes, if you're a really skilled player, you can do it more often than the average guy can, sure, but even the best players in the world, if you watch these competitive matches, they're still getting spun out the majority of the time, because it's extremely hard to time the hit stick and hit somebody in the back, because they get faked out some of the times, and you really have no control over your player. So while this sounds good, yes, you know, if you're lucky enough to land that hit stick, the fumble rate is going to go up, but it's extremely hard to land that this year because of how the spin move works. So that, to me, isn't really something to write home about. The next bullet point here says, addressed an exploit allowing users to avoid the aggressive pass rush coach adjustment penalty by repeatedly shifting the defensive line back and forth in pre-play. Defenders can now jump off sides while shifting. So, as you know, they have coach adjustments in the game. You can put aggressive pass rush on, which increases your chance of the pass rush getting home quicker, getting off the blocks quicker. But on offense, if you fake snap, which is the RB or R1 button to like fake hike the ball, you know, hard count, if they are on aggressive pass rush, they are prone to jumping off sides, giving you a free 5 yards. Well, there was an exploit going around where if you just repeatedly kept shifting your defensive line back and forth, they wouldn't jump off sides. So you would have the positive of the aggressive pass rush, but no risk of jumping off sides. They have now fixed that. So that's a good fix, obviously, because that should not work the way it was working. Next bullet point, additional context added to matchup formula for catches in traffic. Logic added for taking into account additional defenders who are within the proximity to either the receiver or the catch point. What this tells me right here is that it looks like they've tuned the aggressive catches in traffic, because when the last update they said they had decreased the catches in traffic by 60%, basically aggressive catches, high point catches, and literally everybody in the community said no, it literally went to the opposite direction. It looks like you increased it 60% and not decreased it, because aggressive catches, high point catches in traffic were just running rampant. It was out of this world crazy. So it looks like they've kind of addressed that again. And I saw one of the devs on Twitter saying that you should definitely see more drops and have these heavily contested aggressive catches now, which is great, because that was one of the worst things plaguing the game. Dev note added to this says this change will reduce the effectiveness of aggressive catches in traffic by respecting the impact of nearby defenders relative to both the receiver and the catch point. So exactly what I was just saying before I even got to that point. Basically, it's aggressive catches. If you're chucking aggressive catches into double, triple coverage, you should definitely be dropping the ball more now. I very much look forward to testing this out, because it was a huge problem before this update. Next bullet point: decreased the facing angle threshold for the strafe animation, added in previous update to fix a manual spy blitz exploit. A dev note with this says this change will make it less likely that a user will get into a strafe state when trying to cover a pass or pursue a ball carrier, but will still force the defender to strafe if trying to blitz the QB from a spy or zone coverage assignment. I think this has to do with the auto strafe that would sometimes activate when you would be using a guy, trying to make a play on the ball. Your guy would auto strafe, and that would, kind of like put you in quicksand for a second, slow you down, and it would allow your opponent to, make a clean catch and even run past you sometimes, or it would just allow you to kind of dumb out and miss the chance at an interception. So that's definitely a good fix. Hopefully that stays true. Moving down here to special teams, it said fixed an issue preventing touchdowns from always being awarded on fake punts and fake field goals when the snap receiver was the one who scored the touchdown. Dev note with this says this also fixes issues PS4 players have encountered in Skills Trainer regarding touchdowns not always being awarded correctly. I have never seen or even heard of this. If you have, definitely sounds like a good fix. It sounds like some of these touchdowns weren't being rewarded on these fake special teams plays. I have never personally seen it or had it happen to me, but if it has happened to you, then yes, that is a good fix. Catching, it said fixed an issue that could sometimes result in a player not being ruled down correctly when going to the ground after catching traffic. A dev note attached to this says, while this will fix the most common occurrences of the bug, we have identified one edge case that this is still possible to hit, but far more rare. We are continuing to work on a fix for that edge case, and we'll have that resolved very soon as well. So basically, we've seen, this has never happened to me, but I've seen a million clips of this happening. Somebody will catch a ball, he'll get tackled, and everybody kind of stops, kind of like goes in slow motion almost for a minute. The player gets up off the ground really slow. All the defenders are just standing still because they think the play is over, and then the guy gets up and you can run into the end zone with him. I've probably seen this happen 100 times this year in clips. It's thankfully never happened to me, but that has definitely been a huge problem all year. Sounds like, better late than never, I guess, but it took them a while to address this one, and apparently there's still a rare case where this can happen, but they're working to fix that. But the most common occurrences of it have been fixed, at least going off of this, which is good. If that's happened to you, let me know in the comments below. Pass coverage, they keep, they're always tuning pass coverage, which I enjoy, because it's such a big part of the game. We need defense, and defensive AI to keep getting better, as it has. It says, bullet point here, made additional improvements to cover 4 quarters trips logic in order to better defend certain pass route combinations. So cover 4 quarters is a match defense that was put in the game this year. It's been pretty much getting tweaked through every update to get better, for the logic to get better. At the beginning of the year, it was almost unusable. It was really bad. And then it's gotten more usable throughout the year as they made updates. Here, they're adding better logic to defend like trips tight end sets or wide trip sets, because certain route combinations I think would still cause, the guys to not react right, have players dumbing out, or covering the wrong assignment, which was leading to blown plays, blown coverage. So they have addressed that, but we would have to test that out to see how good it actually is. The next bullet point here is addressed a press animation issue with the curl flat defender in cover 3, which would occasionally lead to the defender not properly carrying out his pass coverage assignment. So I'm not 100% sure what this means, but what it sounds like is in certain cover 3s, the curl flat defender, which is the purple zone as most people know it, he would, when he would press a certain defender, it would cause him to not carry out his assignment, which I think that means he wouldn't match the route that he's supposed to match. He wouldn't carry certain routes, maybe to the sideline or to wherever he was supposed to carry that route. He would kind of bump and then just kind of drift off and just kind of stay in an area instead of matching a route, which is what a lot of the zone coverages do this year. They're supposed to match certain routes and carry certain routes depending on the route combination. And with this, it sounds like the guy was not doing that often enough, so that has been fixed according to this. And that is going to be it. It says, don't forget to watch the Madden challenge starting on March 15th. This will broadcast live on Twitch. So the Madden challenge is the next big tournament for Madden this year. It's the Draft Champions tournament on March 15th to March 17th. There's going to be Madden daily drops and all that good stuff for those of you that like that on Twitch. So that is the update. Not a huge update as I would expect, because it is late in the year. Usually this late in the year, we don't see big updates. They kind of just address mostly gameplay bugs or just bugs within the game. They're not adding anything new. They're not really addressing franchise mode and stuff like that. They're just trying to clean up the biggest problems with gameplay. Nothing too crazy in this one to me. I think the biggest thing is the aggressive catches. For people that actually play the game, they know how annoying and bad it's been, so that is probably the biggest thing to note, is that we should see a reduction in the crazy aggressive catches being caught, which will lead to better gameplay, because constantly catching balls and double and triple coverage is not good for the game. It's actually terrible for the game because it lowers the skill gap and it just allows for bad play to be rewarded. So let me know in the comments below what you feel about this. Did you think they missed anything that was big that they should have addressed? Are you happy about any of these fixes? Definitely let me know below. Also, if you're new, subscribe and hit that bell notification to get updates on every new video that drops. And as always, I will see you guys next time.